The Korean original musical Maybe Happy Ending, which made its debut on Broadway last year and this year won 6 Tony Awards, has raised the global recognition of Korean musicals. Following that, this summer, a number of other Korean original productions are notable in the musical scene. Let's talk about those with culture critic Professor Chie Hye-won at Kyung Hee University, who is back in the studio with us. So welcome back, Professor Chie.
Hello, Professor.
Hello, good afternoon.
So we do talk about Korean original musicals a lot, especially ever since the achievement of Maybe Happy Ending.
Right.
But what actually are original musicals?
Right, the term a bit confusing to use. Actually, precisely, original musical means a theatrical works where the music, story, and the lyrics are created especially for a particular show. So without being adapted from any pre-existing materials like a book or film, play, or webtoon. So these musicals are entirely new creations, so not based on any prior work. For instance, Maybe Happy Ending is an original musical, but Wicked is not, as it is based on the book of the same name. But in the Korean theatrical community, though, Korean original musical refers to the works created and premiered in Korea, as opposed to the locally licensed production of foreign musicals. So as in other industry, the term Korean original work doesn't necessarily refer to the work created by only Korean creators, but is rather referred to work created in Korea and produced by Korean producers. However, The Great Gatsby, running on Broadway in New York right now, and was produced by Korean producer Shin Chun-soo, would be a new example of a Korean original musical. Actually, its touring production opens in Seoul tonight. So, and we might consider how to categorize it, either international tour production or Korean original production. So I believe that the definition of Korean original musical will gradually change as the industrial environment changes.
It's really not as simple as I thought.
So we briefly know what original musicals are now. My question is, which Korean original musicals are getting positive responses these days?
These days, right. The musical Frida, the last night show, opened in June and continues to perform. And Marie and the Showman opens its new season in July, bringing large audiences to the theater despite of this hot weather. And Frida tells the story of the real life of renowned Mexican artist Frida Kahlo, while Marie Curie highlights the life of the great scientist who discovered the radioactivity. The musical Showman tells the story of an actor who has spent all his life acting as a body double for others, only to find himself acting as a dictator. Through the story of an old man looking back on his past, the work raises questions about the true meaning of the life of and identity.
If I'm correct, Professor Chie, these are all revivals, right? Some productions or works that have already proven successful. So do you see any commonalities between these revivals of these original works?
Right, they are all returning productions. So Marie Curie premiered at Chungmu Art Center in 2020, and Frida and The Showman both are premiered in 2022. So Marie Curie and Frida both delivered female-centered narratives, and they were enhanced through years of development as well. Also, all three works carry messages of self-identities and courage and hope, and it's like a life stories. So allowing the audiences to deeply reflect on someone's life and sympathy with them.
So it looks like we're seeing consistently original works that are based on real-life characters,
Right.
prominent women figures, and as we see in the case of Marie Curie and Frida, works that reinterpret foreign women in the perspective of Korea. So what do you see behind this trend?
Yeah, but of course there are some musicals about the story about the Korean female figures as well, but I think that it was after the mid-2010s, so you probably remember the Me Too movement during those period of time. So many female-centered musicals began to be created, and this trend is not limited to Korea. So for instance, Six, that is the West End musical, and that is the female-centered musical as well. So however, it is true that female-centered musicals are especially gaining popularity with a great sympathy here in Korea. So since the majority of Korean theater, especially musical audiences, are young women, so in particular, there are many works that deliver the real-life stories of famous figures that I think the reason musicals deal with, especially with the famous foreign women or famous foreign figures, is because they have more advantages in marketing, in terms of marketing and branding.
So we're talking about Marie and Frida right now. Marie has been staged in London, as you said, West End, and there's actually a talk about Frida being showcased abroad as well. So I want to ask you, what's the most important aspect of original musical to be successful abroad?
As with any other work, if they want to achieve long-term success overseas, it is important to rearrange the work because it is created for domestic audiences in the first place. So they have to suit their work to the overseas market. As previously mentioned, the audiences here is prominently young and female, but the audiences in the US or the UK are much more diverse. So furthermore, the elements that audiences related to in the theatrical works differ from those of Korean audiences as well. So especially when dealing with the lives of the famous figures, as we just mentioned, I think that it's also crucial to consider the local perspectives and understandings of those individuals as well.
And moving on, Professor Chie, in the past, there was a bigger focus on licensed musicals from abroad, but now we're seeing more and more Korean productions, like it starts from the story to the composition, the lyrics. So why are we seeing this trend of more and more really Korean-made Korean original musicals?
I think emotional connection to the audience, to the local audiences, is a great appeal of Korean original musicals. So compared to the musicals created overseas, works created by Korean creators have a strong emotional appeal to the Korean audiences in terms of theme and story. Even when telling the stories of famous foreign figures, as we just mentioned, the perspectives is different. So the perspectives reflects the points of empathy that the Korean audiences share.
Interesting.
Yes, and now I want to talk about the music of these original musicals as well, because obviously that's very important. As the variety of materials kind of show increase, the colors of music itself varies as well. So what do you think are the prominent trends or characteristics in the music of original musicals?
Korean original musicals utilize various popular music genres such as pop and rock and jazz and gain more popularity among young audiences. I think the market is very different from any other market. So here in Korea, it's like the younger audiences have very energetic. So they are very energetic and their reactions are very, very powerful to the stage. So some musicals like 서편제 and 스웨게이's 외쳐조선 combines especially traditional Korean music and modern pop music, so which is very unique characteristic and also appeal to the Korean musical as well. So, and because musical number is not just a score, they deliver the story. So Korean original musical effectively convey the emotional changes of characters and the development of a story through the music. So I think that is another strength.
And last but not least, Professor Chie, do you think that there are chances that we will have another big success, like maybe happy ending on the global stage?
Yes, of course I do. Of course, I believe there are more chances for the Korean musicals on the global stage. However, when Korean musicals, many producers plan to enter to the overseas market, I don't think their goal would be to win another Tony Awards or Olivier Awards, because the awards aren't necessarily the measure of success. So there are several Korean musicals that are striving for the overseas market right now, including Marie-Curie, Red Book, and Swag Age. So I hope that more Korean original musicals can succeed in overseas market through smart localization strategies.
Well, it's really great that we celebrate the big success of Maybe Happy Ending with the Tony Awards, but it's really important that whenever we have these kinds of successes, we should not only focus on that production, but really look at the other Korean works in that industry. I think that goes with all of the sectors of the K sectors, not only musicals, for instance, also in literature. We had the success of Han-gang, the author. Then it's great to have people looking at other Korean literature, and I think that's going to also happen with musicals and also the productions we're looking forward to in the near future. And we're also looking forward to you coming in next time again. Thank you for your insights today, Professor Chie.
Thank you very much.
And thank you, Bella, as always. We're going to see you back next week, and have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you for spending the past half an hour with us on the Cultural Wave. Have a pleasant weekend, everyone, and we'll be back next week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Korea time.